Alright, what's going on everybody? It's Falcon here again for a very interesting video for today. And today I'm actually going to be doing something that I haven't done before. And I'm actually going to be using SHAREfactory for the first time. You know, I want to see how this works, but in this video I'm actually going to be making a little guide on, you could say, one of my best characters, Gigas. And I wanted to do this video for a while now, but I've never really had the time to do so. Most character guides I've done were on stream, and I decided that instead of making it live, I can record it and post it so I don't get distracted with chat or anything like that, even though I still love you guys. But let's just get right into it. I want to talk about strengths and weaknesses for the character. I want to talk about his punishment. I want to go through his move list and go through every single move and how they can be used. And we can show some combos, wall combos, and some wall pressure, and even some of his throws. So let's just get right to it. So what are Gigas' strengths? Gigas is known to be the worst character in the entire game, which is true. However, I think Gigas is slightly better than people think he is. People think that he's useless, but when I was playing rank match today, that's not the case. This character can actually destroy you, because one of his biggest strengths, in my opinion, is that nobody knows this character. This character, you can honestly get away with murder against a good chunk of players because nobody plays Gigas. You rarely see the character, which is a great strength. That means most of his like really shitty strings, they can be used, you know? They're usable and you can get away with them. You know, and this throw here, it's one of the best 1+2 grabs in the game if the opponent doesn't know how to break it. So that is a really good strength for Gigas. So honestly, when I was playing rank battle today and yesterday, I was doing a lot of these strings and I was getting away with them because people don't know how to punish him, which is a good strength. But for real strengths is his range. His range is, like, his jab and down for 1 alone, and his down 2, and even his down back 2, he has super long arms, of course. So as you guys can see, he hits from almost across the stage. He has really long range. And he has this move, which again, really fast, very long range, you know? So his range is very strong. That is something Gigas has, and that's good when he has one of the best 10 frame punishes in the game, which I'm gonna get to. And his jab, like I said, his jab alone is just super good. Especially the 1-2, it's just fantastic. This is something that Gigas does have. Another good strength he has is that he has a pretty solid whiff punish. He's decent with whiff punishment when he has down 2. You know, very fast, very long range, mid launcher. So that's very nice. And he even has 4/4 1+2, which is a decent whiff punisher. You know, it's also a launcher now, which is always nice. Good to know. He has 4/4 which is a very good move. And we'll get to these moves more in the move list section. But overall, he has decent whiff punishment. They're strong, they're very fast, and they're relatively easy. They don't take much execution to do. And another great strength he has is his wall damage. His wall damage is his damage in general, I'm sorry. His damage in general, I think, is very strong. 86 damage, that's very good. And for his staple, this is my staple with him. If let's say I hit with a down 2. Here, actually, let me restart this just to show the damage. So if there's no walls, you get 69 damage easily. Easy combo. That's not even hard to do. And you know that you can do, I use this for wall carry, jab, down forward 4, you know. His damage overall is something that Gigas does have. He does hit pretty hard, which is always nice. And his mix-ups from his charge, I think, are also very decent. They're not the best. It's nothing like Fuck-A-Rom. Fuck-A-Rom is just ridiculous when it comes to stuff like this. But Gigas is not bad. He has decent mix-ups from here, which is something. Now, his weaknesses, in my opinion. The weaknesses, in my opinion, is his wall standing punishment is not that great. For one specific reason, but we'll get to that in the punishment section. His lows, all the like stuff like down back 2, down 3, even down back 4, they're decent lows, but what do they all have in common? The range. Gigas' lows have very lackluster range, except for maybe this arm sweep here, but it's very unsafe and very seeable. But I'll get to that later. But yeah, most of his lows, other than that, even this low, just has like very shitty range for the way it looks. His legs are very short. So backdashing away from Gigas is a pretty good idea because most of the lows will just whiff, and then you're gonna get punished. And another problem with him is that if you whiff an attack with Gigas, most of his attacks, he recovers unbelievably slowly. 4-4-2, shitty recovery on whiff. Down 2, not very good on whiff. Down back 2, not very good on whiff. Back 1, not very good on whiff. 4-4-2, not that good on whiff. He has a lot of moves where they're really punishable on whiff. More punishable than most characters, which is a big deal, in my opinion. And also, he's a ginormous monster. He has a big hitbox. And what does that mean? Terrible movement. His backdash is one of the worst in the game. His sidestep is terrible. He just can't really move around very well. And I really like moving around with my characters, just moving, getting spacing for a punisher. But with Gigas, I can't really do that with him. It's much harder to move. Even his backdash is just very lackluster. Characters like Eddie, Jack, you know, and also Kuma and Panda as well, they have really good backdashes to make up for their really shitty sidesteps. But with Gigas, not the case. So he's more vulnerable to pressure because he can't move properly. And another big problem is that he has almost no panic moves whatsoever. The only panic move you could say he has is a dick jab. He does have a dick jab, which some characters don't, like Yoshi or Noctis, which is nice, and it has great range too. His dick jab is actually very good because of its range. But the problem is that's all he has, really. This power crush, way too slow. This power crush, I actually do use it on occasion, but it doesn't work very well. But other than that, he just doesn't really have I mean, he has 1-2, I guess, but again, that's super unsafe. And I would never do that. It's just too much risk against good players. But down jab is really all you got. Or down 4 or something, I don't know. So his panic moves is a problem. So when Gigas is being pressured, he almost has nothing outside of a dick jab to get out of pressure. He can't step, he can't backdash. That is honestly my biggest complaint with the character. That's my biggest problem. When I'm dealing with fast characters, it's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with Gigas. I just don't know what to do. So that's a problem with him. And also, he takes more damage in combos due to his big hitbox. That's another problem. Kind of like with Kuma, you know, all the big characters. But sometimes moves can actually whiff on him in combos because of his hitbox. So you could say that's a strength as well, but I wouldn't really call it a strength. And those are really the strengths and weaknesses I wanted to talk about with the character. Now let's get into his punishment. And his standing punishment is very good and it's very simplistic. That's something I like with Gigas. So for 10 frames, he gets 1-2, which is one of the best 10 frame punishes in the game. I mean, it hits from across the stage, it knocks down, it'll wall splat unlike a Mishima gun punch. Like that, you're gonna get a wall combo with his really good wall damage. And again, hits from across the stage. So yeah, this is, in my opinion, the best 10 frame punish in the game. It's just so good. But keep in mind that on block, this is launch punishable. But this is not a very big deal in my opinion because this is only a punisher. So how unsafe it is on block is just, it's not that important. But yeah, you're gonna use this from -10 up to -14. And then at 15 frames, he gets the down 2, which is, it's kind of like Jack's down 4 2. It has great range and you get very good damage from it. Even though the launcher itself does 13 damage. Okay, I don't know why the combo's missing. Maybe it's because I'm not, you know what I mean? So yeah, it is -14 on block as well. So again, just like Jack's, -14. Some characters can launch this, but most people won't do that because again, it's such a fast move. Again, it's like, but I think Jack's down 4 2 is easier to punish in my opinion than Gigas is. Gigas just looks faster, even though it's not faster, it looks faster. But overall, I think that it's a very, very good move. And now we're gonna get to his wall standing punishment. I think his wall standing punishment is kind of a problem when you get to the later frames because he does not have a 15 frame wall standing launcher. His fastest launcher from full crouch comes out at 18 frames. That's why I think his wall standing punishment is lacking a little bit. It is better than Marduk's, Gigas' wall standing punishment is better than Marduk, which is something he has over Marduk, but it's still not very good because again, he can only launch at 18 frames. It's kind of like it's like Marduk's wall standing 3. It's minus 13. It launches. You know, it's still a good launcher, but again, it's very slow. Now for 11 frames, he gets wall standing 1. You know, plus 5 on hit. Nothing crazy. It's decent. It's safe on block. Typical Punisher. For minus 13, he gets, this is actually pretty decent. He gets wall standing 3-2. This extension he got in season 2, I think. I don't remember. I think it was season 2. Yeah, it was season 2. But yeah, this is a 35 damage knockdown that can give you that gives decent Oki afterwards. But the really good thing about this is that it floor breaks. So if you block a low that's minus 13 on Forgotten Realm, this is actually a 13 frame launcher on that stage, which is actually pretty powerful. That's very good. On guard though, this is minus 14. So be cautious with it. It is quite unsafe. I mean, if they're at the wall and they don't back roll tech, you do get guaranteed follow-ups, which is always nice. And if they try to get up, then you can do the back 2 charge, or you can go for a throw, or whatever you want to do, honestly. And for 15 frames, he gets wall standing 2-3. This is decent, but again, for 15 frames, it's still lacking. You know, 43 damage, knockdown, wall splat, you get the deal. But again, it's 15 frames. If this was like 14 or 13 frames, this would be stupid good. But yeah, 15 frames is a little too slow. And he can't launch until 18 frames. That is a big problem. So that basically covers his punishment. Again, standing punishment is very good and it's very simplistic. You only need 1, 2, and down 2 for standing. For while standing though, you know, you do have issues when you become lows that become launch punishable. Keep this in mind. And yeah, I guess we can now go over the move list and talk about the individual moves in themselves. I'll get to his rage stuff at the end. 1, 2 I already talked about. 2, 1, I didn't mention this, but you can also use 2, 1 as a 10 frame punish if you want to keep them standing. It is pretty good. It's plus 5 on hit right next to the opponent. Go for a grab if you want, if they don't break it. And you can start some offense with this. Not bad at all. And it also jails on block and it's safe. That's also nice. And you can also go into, what's the stance called again? Golem setup. You can go into Golem afterwards. It gives you plus 7. But unfortunately, I don't think that this stance is very good. At all. I don't think it's very good. And I'll explain it more when I get to it. Or, you know, actually I'll talk about it right now. So you can go into this stance by a couple different moves. You can do 2, 1, Golem. 4, 2, down 1 into Golem. He has some options to get into this stance. But you can literally block, and you can literally block everything he does from here. So first he has this mid launcher, which is very fast. You know, mid launcher, it's minus 13 on block. But this isn't very good, because in season 1, this move used to be a high. But on block, it was plus 4 or 5 or something, which is pretty good. And then you had the mid here, and it wall bounces, as you can see, and it's 0 on block. This used to be heavily minus. It was like minus 8 or something, but now it's 0, which is very good, and it's a wall bounce too. But, you know, it just knocked down, and it was pretty decent on block. I think it was like minus 4 or 5 or something. It was good. So this was actually a mix-up. Would you want to duck the high? That gives plus frames. But if you did that, then you have the mid that will knock down. And if you're not ducking at all, you know, you could possibly get hit by this or deal with its plus frames. But in season 2, they nerfed both these options. So this stance in season 2 especially was like legit garbage. You can jump back like this if you want. You can do that if you want hesitation, but not the best thing in the world. But in season 3, he did get his he got a 1+2 grab from here. He did get his original throw from here. And it's just as fast as the original one. So that's nice, but the problem is that you can't do his generic 1 or 2 grabs from here, I don't think. No, you can't. So, this is all you got. So, if the opponent's not good at breaking throws, obviously this is very good. It's a decent mix-up. But if the opponent knows what they're doing, this stance will never be a threat. Because they'll just block the moves, the mid they'll punish, this they'll just block, you can block it, and the throw they'll just break. Very easy, very easy 1+2 break. So even now, I still don't think the stance is very good. I really want them to make this a high again and give it its plus frames back. I would love for them to do that, but unfortunately, guys, I have no idea if that's going to happen or not. But I hope it does, because this stance will be a little bit more useful and it give more uses. But as of right now, this stance doesn't work very well. But against people in rank battle, again, this stance actually works kind of well. I don't know why, but it does. Again, if they don't know the matchup, this stance might be threatening, but if you know the matchup, that stance is trash. The only thing useful out of it, I guess, is this jump back thing, but even then, it's kind of like whatever. Standing 3 and standing 4, both these moves are kind of similar. This move, it kind of looks like Mark's back 4. It's 14 frames. The range isn't as good as Mark's, unfortunately, but it's safe on block. It's only +2 on hit though, which isn't that good. And it's just a mid. On counter it actually used to knock down in season 1, but unfortunately they nerfed that for some reason. Honestly, I don't think this is very good. I think down for 1 is way better because it has more range, it's just as fast, and the frames are better. So I think down for 1 takes the place of his standing 3. His standing 3 is kind of shitty in my opinion. Standing 4 has the same frames. It's 2 frames slower, but this one has actually very good range, and on counter it, this one I think knocks down. Yeah, it does. So the standing 4 actually can be used, but the standing 3 I just don't really see a good use for. Standing 4 is usable, but I still think down for 1 is better to use, but standing 4 more usable than standing 3, I can say that for a fact. But both those moves are kind of whatever. Now we have the forward 2 series. Forward 2 on its own is okay. It has good range, it's relatively fast, very plus on hit, it's safe on block, and it is a counter hit launcher. These strings can be used as mix-ups. Forward 2 1 is not a natural combo. None of these are natural combos, I don't think. No, none of these are natural combos. They're all counter combos, I'm sorry. Forward 2 1, -3 on block, decent. There's an extension, which is mid. The whole thing is -12, so be cautious. The main time I ever do this is in some wall combos. Sometimes I'll use it like that, and then they'll backflip and you get some okay from that. But other than that, I don't really use this. I don't use these kind of strings very often. 4-2, 4-1 is also very risky. It's high, you can duck it. It is safe on block and it does launch on normal hit, but if the opponent knows what they're doing, even this can be ducked, and all the options will be beaten. But 4-2 down 1 is basically the mix-up. It's -13 on block, so it's unsafe. But you can also go into golem stance afterwards and get mix-ups if they're hesitating. But other than that, oh, and also this is going to be one of your main screws. Outside of down back 3-2, this is another screw move, which is good to note. This used to be one of his main screw moves, but now, you know, down back 3-2 is a little more useful. But yeah, 4-2 down 1, again, I don't really do these strings very much against good players. You don't really see me do them. Against people who don't know the matchup, I'll use them on occasion just to keep them guessing, but other than that, I don't see a main reason to use these outside of combos. Those are all the options. 4-3-2, this one is interesting. The first kick on its own is extremely slow, but it's very plus on hit. It's safe on block. 4-3-2 is a natural combo, and if it hits, you can hold it to go into stance. That's guaranteed. You get pretty decent damage from that. Natural combo, the whole string is -13, I think. Yeah, -13. And if you decide to go, let's go for a ride, I mean, that's super unsafe. You're gonna get launched. You'll be running right at them, and before any option you do, you're gonna get hit out of it easily. The main use for this, I don't use it for the natural combo. I don't really use it for that. But you can charge the second hit for that, you see? That huge guard stun. And on block, this is just like the back 2 or forward 4 stun. So, yeah, if this is blocked, +20, and you get a mix-up. If you hit with it, obviously you get the guaranteed follow-up, which is very nice. And especially next to the wall, it gets even more scary. And then you get your classic 50-50 mix-up. And we'll talk more about the mix-up when I get to him his forgot what the fuck this is called. Goliath stance. But yeah, this is usable. It's not bad at all. You know, you have the classic, you have the unblockable high from here, which can be ducked. And then you have the wall sliding mid. The mid, that's only -2 on block, which is not bad at all. Not bad. And it can also delay when they come out, which is can also cause hesitation. So sometimes, especially next to the wall, I'll wait for a second, then do the unblockable, because then they'll duck, and they'll be like, oh shit, it's not coming out, and then they'll just stand up right into it, and then they're gonna get hit, and it does more damage, I think. So non-waiting, that does 40. If you wait, 55. The mid, I think, is the same thing. 20. If you wait, 30. And I think it's better on block even as well. But let me just check. Oh, maybe not? Okay, it's not. Never mind. That's just the unblockable. But, you know, it's not the best mix-up. It's still, you know, there is still some risk, especially if they duck the high, you're going to get launched. But, you know, it's something Gigas has. This is something very unique to Gigas. I mean, outside of when Fuck ROM came. But yeah. Next to the wall is where this really does get scary. If you're in the open though, it's not the most threatening mix-up, not even close. But next to the wall, it's definitely more usable. I mainly use this next to the wall. Mainly. So just keep that in mind. Oh yeah, and this is 4-4. The normal version I think sucks. There's not really a reason to use it. It's slow. It's unsafe on block. I don't see a reason. But the charge version is basically like the back two. Except this one is a bit slower. But again, you know, we talked about it. Good hesitation. You know, usable. So yeah, forward 4 and back 2, they're very similar, except back 2 is a little bit faster. A teeny bit. But this one gives slightly more frames, I don't know. But yeah, they're good. But for what Gigas is, they're good, they're decent, but there also is risk involved. Because they are so slow. Alright. 4-1+2. This is a very good move in my opinion. This is a very good move. This is very important. This is one of your few counter tools that Gigas has. It's 13 frames. It is a high though, so it can be ducked, so keep that in mind. But it's so fast that that's not even really important. It's +6 on hit, which is nice. It's safe on block, which is also nice. But on counter it is where you'd want to use this move. Yep. You get 64 damage on counter it. And you are at 0, right next to the opponent. Most people don't know that and they'll block, and then I'll just go for a throw or something. Or maybe I'll try to go for it again, you don't know. It's not a bad move though. On block though, unfortunately you completely lose your turn, which is unfortunate. There's no block stun whatsoever. But I think it's a great move. And it does 20 damage on its own, which is nice. And also next to the wall, it's gonna wall splat. It's very similar to Ogre's 4-1+2 or 4-3+4. He had a move like this in tag too. Gigas has kind of the same one. And you get a wall splat. Hang on. I'm just dropping shit now. Very good. Now, in the open or next to the wall, this is a very powerful counter tool. Hey, let me get some water real quick. Okay. Let's move on. Good move. Goliath, I talked about that. The 1+2 option is this this dive thing. That's only used for like that. Other than that, that move is useless. Okay, down 4-1. This is very good. This is one of your most important moves. It's 14 frames, so it's 1 frame slower than a normal down forward one, but it kind of makes up for the range. The range is god tier on this move. It's one of the best range down forward ones in the game, or maybe it is the best, I think. It's very plus on hit, as you can see. Very plus, +7. Again, it has a really nice hitbox. On block though, unfortunately, it's -6. So on block, you do kind of lose your turn. But because of its range, you can kind of space out with it. And it's a decent keep out tool to keep them away from you. Jab, down 4-1, it's good. You know, very long range. And it does what a down 4-1's supposed to do, except again, you do kind of lose momentum with it. So I wish this was better on block, maybe make it like -4 or 3. If they did that, then it'd be even better. This also is the beginning of his 10 string. So you can do that if you want. But again, I don't really recommend it. you know, not the best thing to do. But down for 1 on its own is a very, very good move. Very good. Down 4 2-1. This move, the uses for this move is kind of limited. It is another screw move he has, but he has way better screws than that. I wouldn't use it for that. Down 4 2-1 on its own is okay. It's safe on block. It's plus on hit. Not as good as a down 4-1 though. But the extension is what makes it serviceable. This is a counter hit combo. It's like Marduk's basically, and it will, you know, it's counter hit confirmable, which is very nice. On block, this is -13. So, but it is very delayable. So for hesitation, and if you want to be, you know, you want to be stylish, you can do this and then kind of mess with this. But again, down 4 2 on its own is, again, it's -7, so you lose your turn afterwards. So if the opponent knows that, they can steal their turn back. But on hit, you definitely have decent options, because they're going to be afraid of that second hit because it's going to knock down a wall splat. Good to know. Okay, the down 4-3 series. So down 4, this is actually his fastest mid. It's 13 frames, which is very nice. Down 4-3-1 is a natural combo. It's a plus on hit, it's safe on block. This is mid-high though, so it can be ducked. Be careful about that. It kind of reminds me of Mark's down 4-3-1, but it's not as good in my opinion. But most people aren't going to duck after this because of down 4-3-1 plus 2. Oh, I forgot to mention that down 4-3 is a knee as well, so it can't be parried. That's always good to know. Unless if you're playing a character like Jin or Geese or Leroy or shit characters like that. But down 4-3-1 plus 2, this is not a natural combo, and the second hit is launch punishable. But this is a counter hit combo, and it's a counter hit launcher. And you get pretty good damage from it. And this has an extension, 1 plus 2. 1 plus 2, 1 plus 2. Natural combo if the second hit hits. The last hit is only -1 on block, which is really good, but it is high. But this is kind of a mix-up, because the first part is launch punishable, and if the opponent tries to punish it, the last hit is going to counter hit them, and they're going to get knocked down. But then they might, if they want to duck the high, then you can do this and then, you know, get hesitation from it. So it's pretty good for another counter tool like 4-1 plus 2, but the first hit is mid, which is always nice. So for a counter tool, it's not bad, but you are taking a risk because it is launch punishable. And both options come at risk. It's not a very good string. When people know the string, if they know these strings, it's not very good. But if they don't know it, it's kind of cheap, to be honest, if they don't know it. Those are the options. And it's also a key move in combos as well. I guess I'll show that. For wall carry and stuff, it's also very good. I mean, I didn't get the wall there, but you know what I mean. This string is literally only used in the end of combos because it does good damage. That's the only use for this move. Both hits are launch punishable on block. Not a natural combo. That string is basically useless. It's garbage. You only use it in combos, but it's a very good combo ender. Other than that, that move's useless. Down 2, I talked about that earlier in the punishment. Very good move. And then we have down 3. This is a pretty decent low. It's very fast if you need a fast low. It kind of reminds me of Mark's a little bit, but it's not as good in my opinion. The range isn't as good. But it has the same frames. It's -1 on hit, -12 on block, and it does have an extension, down 3 too. Both options are -12, and they both force crouch. So they both are mainly going to be punished with while standing 4s. It's not a natural combo. It is a counter hit combo though, and it puts you at 0 on hit. It's decent, but, you know, usable. But I think he has slightly better lows like down back 2. But if you want a fast, quick low, not bad. And even though it's -1, because of the extension, most people won't swing afterwards. So then again, you can go for another mix-up if you want, you know, and again, get hesitation frames, you feel me? So yeah, not a bad option, not bad. Down 1 plus 2, this is your one of your power crushes. It is a wall bounce, which is actually very nice. But the problem though, and it is -13 on block, which is deep, which is actually pretty good for a power crush wall bounce. But the problem with it is that it is so fucking slow. It comes out at 30 frames. That's pretty ridiculous. It's extremely slow for a power crush. most of the time, I will absorb an attack, and then they can just block immediately afterwards, and then I get punished. It actually has really good range though. That's another thing about this move. It hits from also across the table. Look at the range on it. It's very good for that, but I just don't think it's a very useful move because again, it's just way too slow. Way too slow to be considered a good power crush. If they made this move faster, then it would be a really, really good power crush. But since it's so slow, then I just don't see it being used that well. Down 3+4, this is another power crush he has. If the opponent is hitting buttons. It doesn't really work too well. Most of the time if I have absorb an attack, hang on, I have to get him to block first. Let's say if they're pressuring me and I want to do it. See, they can still block. Just like that. So like this power crush doesn't even if you absorb an attack, that doesn't mean you'll still immediately get a punish afterwards, which is a problem. But what I like to do sometimes after, if I absorb a hit, is that I'll go for a throw or something. I'll do this into either a 2 grab, or I'll do it into the classic 1+2 grab. That does work. I've done it before. It will work sometimes, but for what you're getting, I mean, I can use it to taunt as well. And do some bullshit from there. So if you want to be fancy, then you can do it, but it just doesn't work that well, in my opinion. And you can be thrown and hit low out of it, so not the best strategy, in my opinion. Okay, down back 2. This is one of your main key lows. It is slow. It's 23 frames, but online it's basically unseeable. On hit, it's +3, which is nice. So on hit, down 4-3 series is uninterruptible, which is nice. It is -14 on block. This is basically Monarch's Core Circle 4-2, except I think it's worse. Because the frames are worse on hit, it's more unsafe on block, -14. And you don't get as much reward on counter hit as Monarch does. On counter hit, you do get a knockdown for free follow, that's very good. And it also high crushes almost instantly, which is also nice. It hits grounded, and it also tracks both ways. So it's a good low, but again, the range, it does have good range for what it does, but again, if you whiff this thing, again, he recovers slowly. So keep that in mind. And again, it is slow. It's not a fast low. But this is one of his key lows. So keep that in mind. It is a good low. It's one of his key lows. It's very good. The down back 3 series is not that good outside of combos. This is a counter combo, I'm sure. Yeah, it is a counter combo. But on its own, this string is super high risk. It's not a natural combo on normal hit. You can actually duck the second hit of this even on hit, and I'll show you that right now. You see? Just like that. Even if you get hit by the down back 3, the frames on the first low is so bad that you can duck the second even on hit. If you don't duck it, this is safe on block, but it's still -9. That's still very, very minus. Even if they don't duck it, but it's only used really, I mainly use it as a screw. Like that. But it does make these options launchers, which is always nice. Down back 3, I'll maybe use sometimes, maybe to get a throw mix up again if they know the matchup and they can duck the high. Again, I can use this to my advantage, but it's still minus on hit. It's still very unsafe on block. I don't recommend the use of this at all, outside of combos. Again, this is just like down back 2 I think is a way better low, even though it is slower. I would rather do down back 2 instead of a down back 3. And also the range is a lot worse than you would think. The range is not very good. I don't know. I just don't find that low that useful. Down back 4, this is another one of I think this is your fastest low outside of down 4. It's minus on hit, which is a problem. But it's very fast, it does high crush, it's -13 on block, so some characters can launch it, so be careful about that. But it is an instant high crush if you need one, if you don't want to use down 4. Hits grounded, the range is still not good, but on counter you do get +3, which is okay. So you do get some frames to work with on counter hit. But again, it's usable, it's okay, but again, I just think down back 2 is slightly better. But again, if you need a fast, high crushing low, but you want it like really fast, it's not terrible, but again, you get like no reward for it basically. Not the best move ever. Down back 1+2. This move is one of your safe mids. It does knock down for a free 4-4-2, and it does wall splat, which is nice. It also hits grounded and safe on block. But again, this move is really fucking slow. It's again 29 frames to startup. Really slow startup. And also it doesn't have very good range. The range is again a lot worse than you would think. And it also is very steppable. I forgot to mention that as a weakness. He is relatively linear outside of stuff like down back 2 and stuff. But this is also very linear and it has very shitty range. And again, it's so slow. You get some reward. I mainly use this move at the wall. That's the main time I use this move because it's not risk for being backdashed. You basically can't backdash it, but it can still be set. But he has better options. So at the wall is really when I use this move. Other than that, this move, again, it's a very risky attack to go for because of its shitty recovery. I talk about all these options. Back 2, it's basically like forward 4. I basically talked about it. Charge up. Back 1, this is another launcher he does have. It is slower than down 2, but it does hit grounded, which is nice. And again, it is a launcher, but I don't really see a good reason to use this outside of down 2, other than down 2, because this launcher is actually launch punishable on block, as you can see, -15, while down 2 is -14, and it's faster, and the range is basically similar on these. Actually, down 2 has a little bit more range, so it's like, yeah, I just don't see why you'd use back 1 when you could just use down 2, so that's why I don't think this move is very good. I don't recommend the use of it, especially since it's launch punishable. Back 3, this move is decent. It's a knockdown wall splat. If they don't back roll, you do get a free hit. It is safe on block, which is always nice, and it does have some pushback, and it will wall splat. But other than that, I don't see a huge use for this move. It is also very linear, but it has good range. This move is, this is one of those moves where it's not shitty, it's not great, it's just one of those whatever kind of moves. It's kind of whatever. It's usable, but not the best move he has. Back 4, the only time I ever use this move is, I guess, in Oki situations. It does knock down for a free follow-up on counter hits, but it is slow. It's very minus on block. It is safe, but -9. And oh, hey, you're only +1. And it doesn't have a lot of range either. All whiff, this move is ridiculously bad. So the only time I use this move is for Okizeme because it does hit grounded, but other than that, I don't see this move as also a very good move. I don't recommend it other than like, if maybe you get like a counter hit or something, then I'll use it. Or if I don't know if they'll stay grounded or get up, I could use this. But other than that, again, I just don't see a good reason for it. There's risk. Back 1+2. This move is actually pretty decent. This is one of the few moves that Gigas has that is plus on block. It's +4 on block, which is also very nice. And +5 on hit, which is good. So this is definitely one of the few moves that Gigas has that you can pressure with. It doesn't do anything on counter, unfortunately. But the big problem with this move is, again, it's very sluggish. It's very slow. As you can see, it's 25 frames. It kind of reminds me of a Mishima forward 4, but this move is a lot worse because, again, it's slower, and a Mishima forward 4 would knock down on counter for a free follow-up. This doesn't do jack shit. So I think that the Mishima forward 4 is a better tool, but this is still a good pressure move. Again, plus on block. If the opponent's very defensive, you can use it to get some plus frames to get mix-ups. And speaking of back 1+2, I forgot to talk about down forward 4 1+2. This is actually one of his key moves. This move is very good. His down forward 4 is a very good poke. It's got good range. It's 14 frames, so it's very fast. It's pretty good on block, -3, and it's +3 on hit. Has an extension, 1+2. It's basically like the back 1+2, except this one is only +1, but that's still very good, still plus. And it is a counter hit combo. And again, it gives you +5 on hit, which is always nice. However, you can actually get hit out of it, out of the second hit. If you block the first hit, you can, I think, jab or down jab interrupt the extension. But most people don't know that. But you can interrupt both hits on block. If they don't know this though, it's pretty damn spammable. And then you can do down forward 4 as mix-ups. This is actually a very, very good mid he has. Because again, of that extension, which is going to keep him hesitating. If they don't know this, and it's very fast too. And counter hit combo. So, down forward 4 and the extension, not bad at all. Very, very solid. Very solid tools to have. Up 1, I never used this move, but it's not a bad move. It does knock down on hit, which is nice. I don't know if you get anything guaranteed here. I don't think you do. It is safe on block, which is always nice, and it knocks down, and it does low crush, but I always feel like up forward 3 is a better tool than up forward 1, but this one does knock down regular hit while up forward 3 doesn't. But I still honestly think if I want a low crush, I think I would just use up forward 3 over this. It's not a bad move, but I just prefer up forward 3 in my personal opinion. And we'll get to that move I think in just a second. Yep, up forward 3. This is one of another good mid. It's relatively fast for what it does. It's 20 frames, it has decent range. It's a knee, so it can't be parried. It's very plus on hit. You can pressure with it. It's only -3 on block, so it's better on block than up forward 1. And it also launches on counter hit, which is also very, very strong. Very good, as you can see. Now, it's kind of like Marduk's up 4-3, except it doesn't knock down. But I think his might be faster, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, you know, good range, safe on block, very plus on hit, launch on counter hit, and low crush. You know, not bad at all. I think it's very solid. Very solid move. Up 4 1+2. This is a very funny attack. It's not a very good move, but I like to use it. Sometimes, like at the end of the round, or maybe if I'm trying to let time go out or something like that, or maybe if I'm trying to kill the opponent, I don't want to take a risk. Sometimes I'll use this just to get on the ground. That's the reason why I use this move, is just to stay safe. It is extremely slow, but it's very funny too. I mean, he literally flies. Y'all know my saying with this move. And this move actually does hit more than you would think. It's fucking slow, but this move actually hits quite a bit. It knocks down. On guard, it is, I think it's plus. Oh, no, it's at a range, it's plus. At a certain range, this move is plus. Yeah, see right there. At this range, though, you can obviously be hit out. But here, it's basically safe to do because the opponent can't punish. Again, it's not a good move. It's not good, but it is usable. It's a funny move. Very funny move. You guys see me use this move before, and it works. This move does work sometimes. It's funny. It's a funny attack. It's not good, but it's funny. Up 4 3+4. This move I never use, but it's kind of like Marduk's. It hits grounded. It does low crush. It is very slow though, so keep that in mind. It is very plus on hit, and I think it's decent on block too, I think. Hang on, I have to like get you up. It's very slow, so I have to like stand guard. Yeah, it's -3 on block, so it's pretty decent on block. And it does low crush and hit grounded, but it does knock down on counter too. But other than that, I don't see a whole big reason to use this move. I think he has better moves than that. But that's just my opinion. Try and go a little bit faster here, just to be quick. Okay, 4-4-2. This is one of your key moves. This is a key move. It's a very long range, mid, knockdown mid, very fast. This is a very good whip punish tool as well. It is safe on block, which is always nice. And again, it's just overall a very solid move. You know, fast, long range, knockdown, wall splat, and safe. Very good move. But here's the big problem. One, it does not track very well. They actually nerfed the tracking on this move for Season 2 for some reason. I don't know why. But, you know, it's still, so it is steppable, keep that in mind. And if you whip this move, I mean, yeah, you're gonna get killed. This move has shitty whip recovery, like most of Gigas' attacks. So, if the opponent is moving around really well, there is a risk with this move. But, it's still a very strong move in my opinion. 443, I think this move kind of sucks. I really don't see why you'd use this over 442. It's 1 frame slower. The range is a much worse. It is safe on block, but it's not as good as 442 on block. It's -8 with pushback. This one is -9 with no pushback. It is +3 on hit, which is not amazing, which is okay, but not great. It is a knee, and it is a launcher on counter hit, but it's like, I think 442 is way better, because again, this move has like no range at all. And it doesn't track well either. So if I want you to get into it, why the fuck would you do 443 when you can do 442? I think 442 takes the place of 443. I just don't see this move as useful at all, except for the counter launcher, but even then he has better options. 444 and 4442. This move, you know, it's not a very good string, but this is another one of those moves where the opponent doesn't know the matchup. It's actually a pretty decent string. So the first kick on its own, 17 frames, +3 on hit, it's safe on block, there is an extension, down 432, -13 on block, but this is a counter combo, and it's a counter combo launcher. It's also decent in combos as well, but it's rare to hit this, but if you do hit this on counter hit, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna get a lot of damage. A lot of damage. Very good, but there is risk, again, because again, the second hit is quite unsafe. The first kick on its own though, I will use on occasion, and then I'll go for like a grab mix-up, because again, for the hesitation off of the down forward for 4442. Even though this is very minus on block, people will not attack. They will not attack after this, because if they do, there's a possibility the second hit will hit you, and you will get comboed. So the opponent will take a big risk if they try to attack after this. Sometimes, especially at the wall, I will do that into a throw. It's one of my popular setups with him, on hit or block. So, it's still not a very, there is still risk with this, but again, there's uses. Okay, 441 plus 2. This is basically the second hit of down 431 plus 2. It's the same thing. He has the same options from it. But it's a very long range whip punisher. Long range launcher. It's quite fast too, which is always nice. And the second hit is there to, you know, I talked about this with this. It's basically the same thing. It has the same frames and everything. But again, this is a very, very good whip punish if down 2 isn't going to reach. And if you have really good execution, bam. Even though it does come out a little bit slower, it can still work. Like that. So yeah, it's not a bad move at all. Not bad. Usable. You feel me? Oh yeah, and by the way, 441 plus 2 is a homing move, by the way. I didn't mention that, but yeah, this is homing. This is one of the few moves he has for homing. So keep that in mind. 442. This is gonna be one of your main approach moves. It's one of the better running moves in the game because it actually tracks decently to both sides. It tracks better than a while running 3. You know, it doesn't low crush unfortunately, but it's still a knockdown mid that wall splats and gives big plus frames on block like from a normal running move. So that's pretty good. And again, it's one of your main approach moves. It's good. You know, it's actually a key move. This move is very good. Very good. I talked about all these options in the punishment section. While staying 2-4, yeah, you can do the charge up from his while staying 2 as well. It's usable, but his other charge ups are way better than that one. Okay, full crouch down 4-2. This is actually a snake edge. It high crushes the whole time, which is nice. It is a launcher. Pretty good. It is, but the problem though is that it also has really good range too. But it is very slow, and it is very unsafe on block. But I mean, it is a snake edge, so it should be like that. It should be fair. But previously, all you got was this. But now, because of the new move, this is actually now a much more useful attack. But still very risky. And I should mention that on counter hit, you do get a bigger combo from it, which is decent. And it also high crushes the whole time, like I said. And it hits grounded too. So, Usable, but it is very unsafe. So be careful. Sidestep 2, I personally think this move sucks. It is a very long range launcher. It is homing, and it is safe on block, which is nice, and it does screw immediately. But the problem with it is that it's so fucking slow. It's super slow and it's high. So most good players, if they see this coming, they'll just duck it. They'll duck it and you're gonna get launched. So against good players, this move is super predictable. Most people use it at ranges. And even though it's a safe launcher and it is homing, you can just duck it. It's a high. So because of that, I don't know. I think this move is kind of useless. I never use it on purpose. Unless if I don't know. But again, I would just use other moves. So yeah, I don't recommend the use of this move. I don't. Oh yeah, he does have grounded attacks. They're kind of like Marduk, but it's not as good as Marduk's. Let me just change it to where the opponent's down. Wait, shit, I don't know what I'm doing. No. Here we go. So the down 2 option, it is unseeable. It's +1 on hit, which is decent. If you do score a counter hit with that low, which can happen, it'll knock down for a guaranteed follow-up. Just like that, which is nice. It is launch punishable on block though, so cautious. It's actually very, yeah, it's launch punishable. It's not as bad as Marduk's on block, but it is still launch punishable. There's a lot of risk with this, and he has the mid option, but the mid is so goddamn slow that you can block the mid on reaction. It's too slow. I think the mid sucks. Way too slow. Even though this one I think actually might be good on block, but I'm not sure. Yeah, it's 0 on block. But again, 0 at that range, there's not a whole lot you can do there. So the mid, I personally think sucks. I think the low is a lot more useful, even though it's launch punishable. But yeah, his grounded options are nowhere near as good as Marduk's. And we have his 10 string, which is whatever. And now we'll talk about his grab. So, his 1+2 grab, this is one of the best 1+2 grabs in the whole game. It's very good. It does 55 damage, which is very good. It is next to the wall. If you get this next to a wall, god damn it. Next to the wall, you get a lot of damage. 70 damage. If you're outside of a wall, it does 55 damage. So it does a lot of damage, and it's 11 frames. So it's 1 frame faster than a normal grab. It's overall a great throw, but the problem with it is that you have no grab to mix up with, basically. The only grabs you have are generic 1 and 2 grabs, which are piss easy to break. The main one that I'll mix up with is the 2 grab, because it's a little less obvious. This one will switch positions. So if let's say my back is to the wall, I'll use this throw to get out of that situation. Because I think even if they break this throw, it'll still switch sides. Oh no, but I mean it switches like directions to the wall, which is nice. So no, if you connect with this throw with your back to the wall, even if they hit it or break it, you'll be away from the wall, which is why I think his 2 grab is decent in that situation. His 1 grab is much worse because it's much more obvious because he chokes you up, so it's more easier to see that than this throw. It's not a very good throw. If I want to use a throw, I'll mainly use the 2 grab. Unless if my opponent's back is to the wall, then I'll probably use this throw if I don't want to use the 1+2 if I think they're going to break it. But other than that, his grabs would be so much better if he just had a 1 or 2 grab mix up. But again, Gigas doesn't really have that. So a good player they're gonna break this grab. They will break it, and they'll even be able to break these grabs because they're just so easy to break. So against a good player, his grab is not very good. He needs a 1 or 2 grab mix up. He really needs that. If not, then his grabs are not going to be that threatening. Now, if the opponent doesn't know the matchup, this throw is pretty ridiculous. It's a pretty ridiculous grab if they don't know what they're doing. Oh yeah, and he also has a mid-air grab as well. Like that. Used in some combos, but not the most effective thing in the world. But if you hit the opponent airborne though, if like you do a grab and they jump, then it'll hit them. So that is good. Actually, I'll change my mind. That's actually good. if the opponent tries to jump over the grab, if you do the 1+2 or the 1 or 2, you'll be thrown out of the air, just like with King and Armor King. And even Marduk, so it's decent. Not terrible. And now we're gonna get to his rage stuff. So his rage art, I think, is actually trash. It does have very good range, which is good, but it's still very slow. It's one of the worst rage arts on block. On block, this thing is, look, minus 42. Insanely punishable. But the big problem with it is its hitbox. This has a terrible linear hitbox. Sometimes if my back is to the wall and I'm being pressured and I throw out a rage art, sometimes Gigas will just go right beside the opponent. He'll just miss you completely. It has literally no tracking. No tracking whatsoever. It does low crush though, which is good. You know, it will go over lows. But the hitbox on this rage art is one of the worst in the entire game. Which is why I think his rage art is actually garbage. Outside of certain combos. Outside of certain combos like this. Hang on. That does work. Even in the open, that does work because the rage art has such good range. But other than that, this rage art is completely garbage. And now we have his rage drive. His rage drive also, I think, sucks. Now, it does stun the opponent. It gives you a free mix-up afterwards with the mid and the unblockable. But you also get this. Basically the back two. If the opponent's really hesitating, if they block this, you're in another situation. So, the rage drive is slightly better than the normal one because you get a little bit more mix-ups. Like that. But you can avoid this rage drive entirely. And all you have to do is jump. If you jump, you have to time it obviously. But if you jump, you won't get stunned. And as you can see, he'll just walk towards you like an idiot and you can launch him. But again, if they don't know the matchup, this rage drive can be annoying to deal with. However, if the opponent knows how to get out of it, again, I don't see this as a good rage drive. And especially if you're being pressured and shit like that, which is Gigas' problem. How the hell are you ever gonna use this? You know, there's just way better rage drives in the game than this one. There's much more scarier rage drives than this. So overall, his rage stuff is actually not very good in my opinion, outside of combos. And if the opponent doesn't know the matchup, then the Goliath one can be used. But that basically covers the move list stuff. I guess now we can talk about the some of his combos. So my staple combo that I will do, and I do this on basically most launchers, like on down 2, this is the combo that I will do in the open. And I do that off of basically most of them, like on up 4-3, you know, basically the same combos. His combo variety isn't that good, but it's simplistic, like off of back 1, even though I think this is a useless launcher. You know, it's usable, right? And off of 4-4 1+2, his other key launcher, down back 3-2, up 4-3, down 4-3 1+2 1+2. And if you get the wall carry or the wall splat, I normally do a jab into down 4-4 1+2. Or you can also do stuff like 4-2 1-1-1 like I talked about earlier, or you can do 4-2 this into standing 3. You know what I mean? But the main combos that you'll see from me mainly, unless if I get like a wall carry situation, 4-2-1 jab down back 3-2 into your wall positioning. His damage is good. He has good damage. And again, he gets those combos on mostly on all of his launchers. Off of this one, same combo. Blah 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 combo, you get it. So his combos are very simplistic to understand. They're not that hard to do. Actually, they're not hard at all. They take no execution. And very good damage, which is something that Gigas has. If you hit any of these charge ups, you do 1+2 into wild grounded 2. Guaranteed. On all the charge ups, basically all of them, you get the same combo. Okay? Down back 1+2, 4-4-2. Guaranteed. Off of most counter knockdowns, I'll normally do back 4, or maybe I'll do down back 1+2 if I'm next to a wall, or I'll do another down back 2. You know, basically shit like that.